The taxi driver who wasn't who he seemed to be. The rain had been falling all afternoon, a gentle drizzle that seemed to have no plans of letting up. It wasn't the loud, wild kind. It was just a soft, steady patter on rooftops, car windows, and umbrellas. Everything felt muted, wrapped in a bluish-gray tone that made you want to curl up with a cup of tea and forget about the world for a bit. The whole street felt quiet. Time seemed to slow down. Even though it wasn't storming, the drizzle made everyone to slow down. On the sidewalk, Elena stood waiting for a taxi. She had just left her 4th job interview that week with another cold smile followed by, "We'll get back to you." The words were always polite, but the rejection behind them hit like a punch. She adjusted her coat, which was barely holding off the rain, and stepped closer to the curb, hand raised for a taxi. Most sped past without a glance. But then a yellow cab rolled to a stop. Elena opened the door and got in. Inside, it was quiet. The dashboard lights flickered. The driver hooted, calm and wordless, didn't even look at her as she got in. "Where to?" he asked. "I don't know. Somewhere cheap that I can stay for a few days," she replied, voice flat. He didn't ask why. He simply nodded and pulled into traffic. They drove in silence for a few minutes. Elena looked out at the city she once loved, a city now filled with broken dreams and unanswered prayers. The driver's hands were steady on the wheel, but his eyes occasionally glanced at her through the rearview mirror. Not with judgment, but with something else, like recognition. "Rough day?" he asked softly. She let out a bitter laugh. "More like a rough year." "Sometimes," he said, "life empties us just to make room for something new." She turned to look at him, but his face remained mostly hidden under his cap. Still, something about his voice felt familiar. It was warm, soothing, and almost like someone she used to know. As they drove past a diner, he slowed down and asked, "You hungry?" She hesitated. "I don't have money to spend now." "My treat," he said firmly. She should have said no, but her stomach had other plans. They pulled into the parking lot, and to her surprise, the staff at the diner greeted the driver with respect. "Good to see you again, sir," the manager said with a nod. "Just passing through," the driver replied. Elena watched this strange interaction. Over the next week, the driver became a silent presence in Elena's life. He showed up outside the shelter she had moved into, offered rides to job interviews, and talked with her about her struggles. She told him about her abusive ex, how she had left everything behind, and how the city had swallowed her hope. He never pitied her, he just listened. One night, as they sat in the cab watching the rain, she asked, "Why do you drive a taxi? You don't seem like someone who needs to." He smiled faintly. "I used to live a life where people only saw my wallet. Driving gives me the chance to see people and for people to see me without labels." Elena nodded, but something about him still felt off. Not in a dangerous way, but in a "you're hiding something" way. One evening, Elena's curiosity got the better of her. She remembered the name of the diner he took her to and decided to search it online. The result shocked her. The diner was part of a nationwide chain, owned by Damian Rivers, a billionaire tech entrepreneur known for staying out of the spotlight. She clicked on an image from an old interview. Clean-shaven, dressed sharply. But the eyes? Those eyes were the same. It was him. The next night, she waited for his cab. As he pulled up, she got in with no hesitation. "So," she said, "do all billionaires moonlight as taxi drivers, or is it just you?" He didn't speak immediately. He sighed, then pulled into a quiet street and stopped the car. "I didn't lie," he said gently. "I just didn't tell you everything." "Why?" she asked. "Because I needed to know who you were before I told you who I am." He took off his hoodie and cap slowly, revealing the man from the photo. "I built a company that changed lives," he said. "But I lost mine along the way. My fiancé died last year. She used to say, 'Love means seeing the soul, not the status.' Since she passed, every year on the anniversary of our meeting, I drive a taxi. To honor her. To remember what kindness looks like when no one's watching." Elena stared at him, speechless. Her breath caught in her throat. All the moments made sense now, the silence and the sincerity. As the days turned into weeks, Elena and Aiden grew closer. They would meet for coffee, go on long walks, and talk about their dreams and aspirations. Elena was drawn to Aiden's kindness and generosity, and Aiden was captivated by Elena's strength and resilience. One day, Aiden took Elena to a small art studio in the city. The studio was filled with paintings and sculptures, and Elena was amazed by the talent on display. Aiden told her that he had funded the studio as a way to give back to the community, and that it was one of his favorite places in the city. As they walked through the studio, Elena felt a sense of peace and happiness that she hadn't felt in a long time. She realized that she was falling in love with Aiden, not just for who he was as a person, but for the way he made her feel. Aiden, too, had feelings for Elena. He was drawn to her strength and determination, and he admired the way she had overcome so many challenges in her life. He knew that he wanted to be with her, to support her and care for her, and to help her achieve her dreams. As the months passed, Elena and Aiden's relationship blossomed. They would spend hours talking, laughing, and exploring the city together. Elena felt like she had finally found someone who truly understood her, and Aiden felt like he had found someone who truly saw him. One rainy evening, Aiden took Elena to the same street where they had first met. He got out of the car, opened the door for her, and took her hand. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you," he said, looking into her eyes. "Will you marry me?" Elena was overwhelmed with emotion. She had never felt this way about anyone before. "Yes," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, I'll marry you." Aiden smiled, relief and happiness washing over him. He put the ring on her finger and they hugged each other tightly. As they stood there in the rain, Elena knew that she had found her home, her safe haven, in Aiden's arms. Years went by and Elena and Aiden built a life together. They traveled the world, built homes, and started a family. They faced challenges and obstacles along the way, but they faced them together as a team. And every year, on the anniversary of their meeting, Aiden would take Elena on a ride through the city, reminding her of the night that changed their lives forever. They would laugh and cry together, remembering the kindness and generosity that had brought them together. Their love story was one of hope and redemption, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a chance for happiness and love to bloom. And for Elena and Aiden, that chance came in the form of a faded yellow taxi, driven by a mysterious stranger who saw the soul behind the surface. Thank you for watching. Remember to like the story, leave your comment, and subscribe to my channel. Until the next video, stay kind and graceful.